Yeah, Spark Teachers has officially launched. I don't know if I had expectations other than having people come together and have conversation and be in solidarity with one another. So those are my expectations, and those were definitely met. So I think that in that regard, everything went so well. I don't necessarily have expectations for what's going to happen next, because I think it's really important that this community is led by the members of the community. So I think Mette and I are just really excited to see what grows and what comes from this in such an organic way, that my expectations are only that I can't wait to see what happens next, and that I know that some amazing things will come out of this network, and I know that people will feel empowered and feel energized and feel ready to tackle on and supported in tackling on the issues that are happening in our schools and schools across Europe. So maybe I do have expectations, but I'm really excited to see what happens next, and yeah, I can't wait.
During the conversations we have already had in Spark Teachers, it has become very clear how many similarities we experience being a teacher in different European countries. So regardless of the country that we are located in, we see some of the same things related to exclusion, racial isolation, whitewash curriculums, and so on and so forth. Therefore, one of the things that we want to influence is how can we create spaces that are more inclusive by design, so that we don't push racialized teachers out of the field. We want to affect both the institutions themselves, so like the schools and the ministries that are creating the curriculum, or however that is influenced in different countries in Europe. But we also want to influence unions and how racialized teachers are protected in the field. How are our needs and our experiences taken care of when we need the union? Some of the topics that we have already touched upon in Spark Teachers is how we can benefit from the knowledge and the insights we have in each of our contexts in those different European countries that we already represent. So we are very curious to learn more about how can we help each other to find cracks in the systems, to create those fair and anti-racist educational spaces that we are all so eager to create and to develop in the context that we are in. We want to learn from each other. So the discussion around what are the different experiences that we have has taken up a lot of the time that we have been together already. We are also very curious to know how can we nurture and protect ourselves along the way, so that we as teachers, racialized teachers in dominantly white spaces, how can we take care of ourselves and protect our own well-being while doing this work, so we ensure that we don't burn out or have to take a stress leave or something else that makes us leave the profession. We are also eager to stay in this field because we want to create those spaces for the students that we are teaching that we were longing for when we were in the educational field. Or even if we have those spaces, we want to make sure that the future generation also have those spaces. So some of the conversations that we have is also around how do we take care of ourselves? What is it we need when we feel this racial isolation that a lot of us have already experienced?
I decided to be one of the co-chairs of Spark Teachers because I knew my experiences as a racialized woman working as a teacher in educational spaces, that my experiences were not, that I wasn't alone in those experiences, that I'm sure there are other racialized teachers across Europe having similar experiences. Maybe we don't all have the exact same experiences, but I felt that in speaking with Mette, even just the first time, and me in Ireland and she in Denmark, and we had so many things in common, and so many things to talk about, and even in just our first conversation, the relief that was felt just in speaking with someone else who understood exactly where I was coming from. And I think that is what drove me, at least, to forming this network, and I'm really honored to co-chair it with Mette. And I'm really hoping that we can provide the space that I know Mette and I so desperately needed, and that we can provide that space for other teachers. So that's the reason why I became the co-chair of Spark Teachers.
The main reason that I decided to co-chair this very, very important network is because it is the network that I needed myself. I really love the idea of being in a network of racialized teachers working in the same field as me, to share practice and share experience and to develop ideas and be together in the struggles and the challenges that you face, celebrate the wins that we have, and how we can experiment within that field that we're in, how we can share our pains. But I also really like the idea of how can we develop this field, not only in the country where I'm located myself, but in Europe in general. How can we learn from each other? How can we be one voice that calls for the same thing, again, across several countries in Europe, not just in one country?
So, you're interested in joining Spark Teachers? We can't wait to meet you. We can't wait to welcome you. In order to do that, you have to go on to the website. So you can go to enarfoundation.eu, and then you can click into communities, and there you'll see the 3 Spark communities that ENAR have at the moment. We have Spark Teachers, and also Spark DEI, and Spark Academia. So have a look at all 3 and just make sure that Spark Teachers is the right one for you. We've got lots of information on there. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mette or I, and we will do our best to answer them. And we can't wait to welcome you. Thanks so much.